Om Namo Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you very much for joining today and sparing us your very valuable time, especially on a Sunday. And we'd like to seek the blessings of the Lordships, Shri Radha Madhav, Shri Radhashyam Sundar, Krishna Balaram, Gaunitai, Shri Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and the assembled devotees, so that we can share some more information about Sanatan Dharma. So just a very, very quick recap, what we've done so far. We've looked at the name of Sanatan Dharma, name of Hinduism, different scriptures involved in the Vedic traditions, the concept of time, which is so extraordinary in Vedic philosophy, Ishvara, God, and the reasons for his existence, if you like, so that we can argue or debate, if you like, with the atheists. We also looked at who we are, the jivas, and how we are affected by karma and reincarnation, and living within these three modes of material nature, which intertwines every aspect of our life. Then we looked at three aspects of God: impersonal, the localized, and the personality. And then we looked at the yoga systems, which were connected with three aspects of Godhead. And the topmost yoga is regarded to be bhakti yoga. So we looked at that in some detail, the 9 processes, together with the arti, why we do arti, temple etiquette. And we looked at Ekadashi and the purpose, reason for fasting. And last week, we looked at the different festivals. Today, I wanted to tackle a rather controversial topic of Varnashram. Varnashram, actually, this Sanatan Dharma is also known as Varnashram Dharma. So this Varnashram is very central to Sanatan Dharma. However, what's come out of it through exploitation is the caste system, which has been misused. So we wanted to tackle that aspect of Vedic culture. This is a verse that comes in the Bhagavad Gita by Sri Krishna, and it's in the 4th chapter. Chaturvanyam maya shristam guna karma vibhagasa tasya kartaram abhimam vidya kartaram abhyayam. According to the 3 modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the 4 divisions of human society are created by me. So this is quite a statement by the Supreme Lord. These 4 divisions of human society are created by me. So they're eternal. There's something that we cannot just eradicate, perhaps by having a classless society, which some countries try to adopt. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. And although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. So he's always beyond everything. Even though he comes from him, he's still beyond it. So let's have a look. What is Varnashram? What is the definition? Varna, ashram. There's 2 words here. In order to function in an orderly manner, human society has to be divided into 4 sections. Why does it have to be? Because that's how the Lord has arranged it, so that it can function. They are regulated by the system of 4 varnas, social classes, and the 4 ashrams, the stages of life. So there are 2 different things. Varna refers to the social classes, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. And the 4 ashrams are the spiritual stages. So starting from Brahmacari, Grihasta, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. So we'll explain what those terms mean. Varna refers to the natural social divisions. Each person has individual duties according to his or her nature. These are called swadharma. They're temporary, they relate to the body. in many ways. And they literally mean their own duties. Swa means own duties. Dharma means duty. The 4 Varnas, starting with Shudra, traditionally accept these different ashrams that we're going to talk through in a minute. Now, we'll show this a little later, but I can explain it now, that these Varnas are described in the scriptures to be like our body. You need a head to function, you need arms, you need a stomach, you need legs. So in the same way, you need the Brahmins, you need the Kshatriyas, you need the Vaishyas, and you need the Shudras as well. It's not that one is more important than the other. If without the head, nothing functions. Without the legs, you can't get anywhere. So society needs all these 4 different categories. So ashram means a place of spiritual shelter. Each stage of life, as we're going through our lives in this body, there are different stages. Is not only a natural part of a journey from cradle to grave, but a time at which spirituality can be developed. This is the point of Varnashram. It's training you to live in this world, but in a spiritual way. Each of the 4 ashrams has its specific duties. So we're going to go through those duties. Krishna teaches in the Gita that people are allocated to specific varna according to 2 categories, criterias. Guna, that's personal qualities, and karma, aptitude for type of work. So if we look, here it is, guna karma. Now, he doesn't say it's according to birth. He's not saying that if you're born a Brahmin, you're always a Brahmin. He makes no mention of varna being determined by birth. So this is very, very important to understand, because the way the caste system was misused was by the Brahminical caste, who said, if you're born a Brahmin, no matter how badly you behave, you are always a Brahmin. And if you're born a Shudra, no matter how cultured you might be, you're a Shudra. So this is not what is intended for the Varnashram. So it's been misused. Anyway, let's go into, first we'll tackle the ashram because that's less controversial in one sense. So Brahmacari, there's 4 ashrams. Brahmacari, student life, celibate life. First 25 years, generally speaking, would be in this ashram. And we'll see the duties and behaviors of these personality, different stages. Grihasta, household life. Vanaprastha, retired life. And then sannyas, renounced life. So let's have a look, each one. Brahmachari, the celibate student. He often is away. This is especially according to the Vedic tradition. Of course, not so much nowadays. Often away from home, somewhat like a boarding school, primarily intended for fostering spiritual values. They call it actually Gurukul, the house of or the school of the spiritual master. And what do you do there? You learn spiritual values primarily, as well as the other educational subject matters. Memorization and skill development was subsidiary to character formation and self-realization. Even sons of the royal family were expected to undergo this austerity and rigorous training. Lord Ramachandra and his brothers, when they came to this world, they also went to Gurukul to be taught under the tutelage of Vasishtha Muni. So the duties of the Brahmachari, what are they? To be celibate, so not connected with the other sex, live a simple life in the Guru's ashram, free from sense pleasure and material allurement. This probably goes completely against the grain of Western culture, where children are really henpecked and spoiled. To serve the Guru, the spiritual master, and collect alms for him. To hear, study, and assimilate the Vedas, very big part of student life. To develop all the appropriate qualities, humility, discipline, simplicity, purity of thought, cleanliness, soft-heartedness, and so on. Come to this picture in a minute. Now you may notice we haven't put like learning English, maths, etc. That is part of the curriculum, but it's not. It's almost secondary, because the idea is to give the opportunity for the student to learn about spiritual life. Life after life after life we've spent in this material world not cultivating spiritual qualities. This is the opportunity, whilst one is in Brahmacari life, to cultivate these wonderful gunas, qualities. So Brahmacari life, this is actually, I don't know if does anybody recognize who these two characters are?
Is it Love and Kush?
No. Pretty? Recognize them? They're your students.
Yeah. Oh, wow. They look so different without their hair. Yes, Katit Katan.
That's it, Katit and Katan. They're the children of Puna Mataji. They went to Bharat recently, and they went through the Janoi procedure, samskar. So I got this picture from Mataji yesterday, and she's given me permission to show everybody. So it's really extraordinary. They look so amazing. So this is what would happen in the old days, especially. The children would be sent to the Gurukul, and they would be under the tutelage of a spiritual guru. Next is Grihasta life. Traditionally, some men remained lifelong celibates, either remaining as brahmacharis, so throughout their life they would just remain as brahmacharis, or immediately becoming sannyasis. Others were required to marry or wanted to marry, extending their responsibilities to include wife, children, relatives, society in general. So this ashram, the Grihasta ashram, is the only one permitting relationships with the opposite sex. The duties of the Grihasta as follows: to make money, to enjoy sensual pleasure according to ethical principles, not wild, enjoyment, to perform sacrifice and observe religious rituals, to protect and nourish family members, including the wife, children, elders, to teach, to teach children spiritual values. This is quite a key aspect of Grihasta. In fact, in the scriptures, it says you have no right to be a parent or a demigod or a guru unless you can liberate your dependents. So this is really powerful. To give in charity, one of the big duties of a Grihasta, to give in charity, especially to feed holy people and feed the poor and the animals, especially Gomata. Looking after Goshalas is a key aspect of Grihasta life. Then let's go to the next stage. So this is from the age of 0 to 25 would be Brahmachari. From 25 to 50 is generally classified as Grihasta, household life. And then we have Vanaprastha, which is retired life. And we don't see too much of this in this world. In Bharat, maybe sometimes this happens, but generally this tradition, this Varnashram Dharma has disappeared really. After the children have left home and settled, a man may gradually retire from family responsibilities and with his wife, or maybe without, but can be either way, begin to focus his mind on spiritual matters. Often he goes on pilgrimage. His wife may accompany him, but all sexual relationships are forbidden. Vanaprastha literally means Vana means forest, Prastha means one who lives in the forest dweller. And one of the duties of the Vanaprastha then, to generally devote more time to spiritual matters, to engage in austerities and penance. In fact, in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it gives some detailed explanation of the behavior of the Vanaprastha, and it's extremely austere, extremely austere. This is what the Vedic standard is. Of course, in Kali Yuga, everything is a little bit less odious, a little bit less possible to follow. another thing of their duty is to go on pilgrimage, go to the holy places. So that's mainly what they do. Then we have the final ashram. So up to the age of 75, Vanaprastha, and then sannyas. This position is traditionally available only to men who exhibit the qualities of a Brahmin. So we'll talk about the Brahmin's qualities in a few minutes. The man would leave home and family and would be prohibited from seeing his wife again. So he's taken sannyas, he's given up family life. Considered civically dead. So he is effectively considered not living. He is free to wander, living a life dependent on God alone. The sannyasis are attired in their saffron dress. They're often called sadhus, holy people, although today not all are genuine. Many take sannyas just because they want to get the respect, get the best prasad, best residence, but that's not the point of taking sannyas. The duties are as follows: fully control the mind and senses, fix the mind on the Supreme Lord, become detached and fearless. Nothing can shake them up. Fully depend on God as the only protector. And this is the most important. To teach and preach the importance of self-realization and God consciousness, especially to the householders who often become distracted from their spiritual duties. So this is very key. And if we see when Prabhupada came to the West, he actually gave many people sannyas. There were young Americans. And his reasoning was that it's important to preach this movement throughout the world. And we saw a lot of the sannyasis fall down from that spiritual ashram and go back again to the Grihasta ashram. So in this age, it's very hard. And this is our Guru Maharaj. He was sannyasi from the age of roughly about 50 or so, and very powerful personality. So that's the ashrams. Now we look at the Varnas, right? The Varnas, the four Varnas are regarded as different parts of society according to bodily parts, which I was explaining a little bit earlier. They're as follows: the Brahmacari, hang on, got it wrong. Sorry. They're as follows: the Brahmins. The Brahmins are like the priests, the scholars, the professors, intellectuals. The Kshatriyas, who are like the warriors, the kings, the politicians. The Vaish, that's the third class, who is like the business community, businessmen, businesswomen. And Shudras, like they are the servants, they are the ones who work for others, and subordinate actually in one sense, but very, very necessary, because you need the legs, you need the thighs, you need the arms, you need the mouth, you need the face. So this is like, how does a society function? Similar way to a body. We need all the different parts for the society to function nicely. We saw in Russia, at some point, they tried to have a classless society. But how can you have a class? They still had the religious clergy, the bishops and the cardinals. They still had the businessman, the warriors, the army men, and the politicians. They still had the business people there. They still had and they had the workers. But they wanted to classify everybody as one. But you can't run a society in that way. And this is just a pictorial idea, the Brahmin, and we'll talk about the qualities of the Brahmin in a minute, and the duties perhaps as well. Kshatriyas, the warriors, the Vaish, and the Shudras. Okay. So the Brahmins provide education and spiritual leadership. They determine the vision and values of any society. Traditionally, their basic needs were fulfilled so that they could dedicate themselves to their spiritual tasks which they were expected to, and they were expected to live very frugally. What were their duties? To study and teach the Vedas, to perform sacrifice and religious ceremonies, and teach others how to perform such rituals, to accept alms and also give in charity, to offer guidance, especially to the Kshatriyas, to know Brahman, the spirit, the self, and God, to never accept paid employment. So the fact that most Brahmins are employed disqualifies them from being Brahmins because they've accepted paid employment. They are in the employment, they're in the pocket of somebody. But the Brahmin is supposed to be completely neutral and can speak his mind without fear. His alliance isn't with anybody who pays him or feeds him, because he's completely independent. And they set the vision and the values for society. The Brahminical class, especially in previous ages, was extremely strong, extremely powerful, even more powerful than the warriors. And that was because of their spiritual nature. Oh yeah, sorry, there's one more. To develop all ideal qualities, especially honesty, integrity, cleanliness, purity, austerity, knowledge, and wisdom. And Krishna lays it out as well in the Bhagavad Gita. What are the qualities of a Brahman? So this is the word: Samo Dhammas Tapa Saucham Shanti Rajavam Evacha Dhyanam Vijnanam Ashtikam Brahma Karma Swabhavajam. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmins work. So if one exhibits these qualities naturally, they're naturally a Brahmin. Even they may be born in a family of warriors. If they got these qualities, then they're naturally a Brahmin, because that's how. And if you like, this country and the West, they follow that culture. If you are talented in a certain way, you're allowed to follow that talent. And this is exactly what Vedic Varnashram Dharma does. And this is an example of some Brahmins. This is actually one of the Brahmins that we're hoping to be able to bring to the UK. Wonderful personality. So, and we seek their blessings. The Brahmins are so powerful, spiritually natured. So, Kshatriyas, their warriors, or the politicians, or the police, the administrators, they are the nobility, if you like, the protectors of society. Though permitted a number of privileges, they're expected to display considerable strength of body and character. And the ideal Kshatriyas were the Pandavas, to protect the citizens from harm, especially women, children, cows, Brahmins, and the elderly. This was one of the main aims, to ensure that the citizens perform their prescribed duties and advance spiritually, to be first in battle and never to flee the battlefield. They were so brave. To be true to their royal word, to never refuse a challenge, to develop noble qualities such as power, chivalry, and generosity, to levy taxes. That was one of their rights and one of the duties, especially from the Vaishya, well, only from the Vaishya, and to never accept charity under any circumstances. To take counsel, especially from the Brahmins. See, the Brahmins are the advisors to the Kshatriyas. To know the scriptures, especially the Arthashastras relating to politics. To deal uncompromisingly with crime and lawlessness. To take responsibility for shortcomings in their kingdom. So they wouldn't shy away. They wouldn't be like Boris. I didn't party. To conquer their own minds and senses, and to enjoy only according to scriptural injunctions. And what are the qualities according to the Bhagavad Gita? According to Krishna, heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, and courage in battle, generosity, leadership. They're the natural qualities for the Kshatriya. Then we come to the Vaishya, farmers, merchants, business people. The Vaishya are the productive class. They and the Kshatriyas and Brahmins are called twice born, indicating that they accept the sacred thread symbolizing spiritual initiation and must perform certain rituals and rites of passage. So what are their duties? Protect the animals, especially the cows, and till the land, to create wealth and prosperity, to maintain workers with abundant food, clothes, etc., to trade ethically, to give taxes to the Kshatriyas. And what are their qualities? Farming, cow protection, business are the natural work for the Vaishya. Then we come to the Shudras, artisans, workers. Shudras are only section of society allowed to keep another's employment. Even the Vaishya are supposed to work for themselves. Other Varnas being occupationally and financially self-sufficient. So their duty to render service to others, to take pride in their work and to be loyal, to follow general moral principles, to marry, the only compulsory rite of passage. And the natural work for Shudras, labor and service to others. Now, just because one is a Shudra doesn't make one inferior. In fact, I would say being a Shudra is an advantageous position in society because one is always helping others, serving others, one is always in a humble mood, not puffed up. You see the Vaishya, the businessman, oh, I made so much money, I'm so proud of myself. Well, that pride will ultimately destroy you. The Kshatriyas similarly, I have so much strength. The Brahmins also can be very puffed up and say, yeah, I've got so much knowledge. But the Shudra, and there's an example given in the scriptures, the Brahmin and the cobbler. It's one of the most amazing pastimes. We haven't got time to go through it. And I was thinking one session we can do can be different sort of lessons from stories. And this is one of them, very big part of our culture. Just some miscellaneous points. Caste system, as I said, has been unfortunately misused, abused, generally by the Brahminical caste. Untouchables are mentioned in the scriptures, but they must be well supported, and they would do jobs which nobody else would do, like, you know, working in the cemetery. Is classless society needed to avoid social exploitation? As I said before, we never achieve a classless society if we want society to run properly. But the exploitation has to stop, because that is what takes people away from Varnashram Dharma and Sanatan Dharma. They go to other walks of life, which is really shameful on us. Of course, in Kali Yuga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made a comment when he came that everybody's actually regarded as a Shudra because there are no qualified Brahmins. There are no real Kshatriyas. Who's going to be first in the battlefield? Not the king, not the prime minister, not even the generals. They're all sitting behind the desk ordering others. So there's really no Kshatriyas. And of course, businessmen there are, but very few who have big hearts like a businessman. So everybody's actually like a Shudra anyway. But as I said before, even if we are a good Shudra, that is quite an achievement, especially in Kali Yuga. Okay, this is a quick chart which I slipped in. What does this say? So the Brahma, all these three can become Brahmacari, all four can become Grihasta into the household life. Only the Kshatriya and Brahmins can take to the Vanaprastha stage. So the Vaishya and the Shudra, they don't need to have a formal retirement. They can continue as they are at home. And only the Brahmins, only one who's got the Brahminical qualities can become a sannyasi. Interesting, interesting little chart. I hadn't realized this until I saw this recently. So I wanted to stop there, bang on half one rather, and take any questions, any comments.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yes, Pari.
So like on one of the slides for the Brahmacari, it said that they had to lead a life of celibacy and they had to, serve their Guruji and things like that. What if like they go into the Gurukul and they realize that like this isn't for me? What do they do then?
Go back home. The Guru, the thing is, the Guru was so affectionate. The Guru and the Guru Mata, they used to be so affectionate to the students that the students would actually not want to go back home. It was generally the other way around. They wouldn't want to go home because this has been their home for such a long, and the Guru is so affectionate. It's so knowledgeable and giving them so much gyan. So generally it was the other way around. But if somebody was not inclined to live as a celibate student, there's no force. This is the beauty. This is the beauty of Varnashram, that whatever you're good at, you can fit within Varnashram Dharma. For example, if you asked a Brahmin to go and collect money, it'll be a real struggle. But if you ask him, find me a verse or do a yagya for me, this will be his forte, And similarly, if you ask a businessman, find a verse for me in the Bhagavad Gita, he'll be, oh man. But if you ask him, go and earn some money, he'll be, okay, yes, let's do it. So whatever you're good at, this is the beauty of Varnashram Dharma. You can fit into this system and contribute in a very positive way. So nobody was forced to do anything.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Very, very nice question, Pari. Ishwari, yes, and Kishori, how many questions have you got?
13, and some of them are from last week.
Okay, yes, that's right. Now, if anybody has any questions or comments, please raise your hand and you can join. And I know Ashwin Bhai will have. So please, whenever you're ready, Ashwin Bhai, you can ask. So go for it, Ishwari Kishori.
Why did Tosima marry Lord Chaligram?
It was her desire and his desire as well. They love each other. And it's one of the things that is a very common practice in Vaishnava tradition.
Do they do Abhishek for Parvati Mata as well?
I have to say, I'm not familiar with that at all. You're talking about the Shivling and the worship of that. Is there similar worship of Parvati?
I mean, like we celebrate the day they get married, and like I'm sure you do Abhishek on the Shivling. Do they also do it for Parvati Ma because she was getting married at that time as well?
Not sure. We have once. Remember?
We generally don't. Ladies are not treated in the same way. The ladies have got another piti, we say piti chore, which is when they get married. That is kind of the way the ladies are treated, but Abhishek is not done on ladies as far as I know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Why did the Gopis beat the men in Holi?
No, they beat them anytime, anywhere.
I don't know. It's some tradition. It goes back to Krishna's time, and it only happens in Barsana, nowhere else in the world.
It should happen a lot more often, right? And it should happen every day,
Do temples also do Abhishek to Nityananda as well? Chaitanya.
Yes. On Gopurnima, yes.
Yeah, and Nityananda's appearance day. So
Nityananda's
both times.
Mm.
So both of them are done
Together.
Why was the Banda of Nerjal Ekadashi chosen for the purpose of having only to do this fast if you missed any other ones?
Because Bhim, he has a special fire in his stomach. He can't live without food. And he was trembling and shaking. And he said to Krishna, my brothers, they fast. I don't. Am I going to hell? Please give me one fasting day where I can just do one day and it's good enough for the whole year. So that's why Krishna gave that blessing that you can fast on this day. And in fact, anybody can fast on this day. And if you've missed one of the days in the Ekadashi calendar, then it's okay because you fasted on this day.
And it's actually in Bharat, that's one of the hottest days as well.
Yeah.
So it is quite difficult to do that in Bharat.
Very tough.
I see. I heard a story where a couple were worshipping like the Lord in severe penance. I can't remember what their names were. And when he came down and asked like, what boon would you like? They both said they wanted to be the Lord's parents. So are the same people Yashodama and Nanda Baba and Devaki Ma and Vasudev?
No, they're Vasudev and Devaki. And yes, and they were what? Dara and somebody. There were two devatas who did that austerity. But actually, nobody can just become the parents of Krishna, of the Supreme Lord, by austerity. In fact, it is described that Nanda, Yashoda, Vasudeva, Devaki, they are eternally the parents of the Lord in the spiritual world. So it's not that one can do austerities to attain such a exalted position. They're not very, very different from Krishna himself.
I see. Are there any Kshatriyas around today?
There will be a few.
Is Hanuman counted as a Kshatriya?
He was more a Varnara, like in the animals. So outside of the Varnashram system.
Of human society as such.
But of course, as we know, he's the greatest servant. So this is the whole idea of, the Lord is so magnanimous, so kind. Once one person said, Ramachandra had the services of Brahma and Shiva and so many other demigods. Why did he pick the Vanaras to serve him? Because he's so kind, he's so gentle, he's so compassionate.
Is it true that the reason Shakuni was able to predict every throw of the dice correctly was because his dice were made out of his father's bones and ashes, so they always rolled on to what he said?
That seems to be the tradition. Yeah, that's right.
How?
His father, I don't know.
He was ordering, he was saying the number, and his father had to obey. For somehow, he managed to order his father like that.
Not something we want to learn how to do.
Yeah. What if you need advice and you want to find a Brahmin? Where can you find one?
You have found one already.
I'm a fool.
Actually, the Brahminical culture is more prevalent in the south of Bharat because they're still following a lot of the traditions as well. So if you really wanted to find one, I would go to the south of Bharat and find, but they are very rare nowadays. So you'd have to, go to each one and see, and monitor what they're doing and what they're saying. Are they following what they're saying and things like that?
We are importing one, hopefully, and he's a phenomenal fellow.
And we've got one in Crawley.
Okay, yes, please.
He's highly qualified to give support, help, advice, like he did yesterday when I was at the mandir.
Fantastic.
Mm.
So Ashwin bhai, anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, there were a few questions I had as well, but I'll ask the important one. Untouchable is still hard, and what I've just heard, it doesn't fit into any of the four Varnas, and that is a sad thing, because if they had a category which says they are kind of group of people that look after us for cleaning,
Correct.
For taking all our rubbish away, things like that.
Correct.
Now they have got a very, very important duty.
Correct.
And it's a pity that our scriptures did not fit them.
I wouldn't say they wouldn't fit them, because the scriptures and what I've read in the Bhagavatam, effectively, because of their sort of attitude, their natures were pretty, uncivilized, pretty uncivilized. But it didn't mean they had to be mistreated. There's no right to mistreat anybody. So they had to be well supported, and it had to be understood. Like you just said, they're doing such an important role in society of keeping things clean. Actually, there's a debt to them. There's actually a debt to them, and that's why they have to be well supported.
Yeah. The other question was around Brahmins, I think Brahmins have misinterpreted our Dharma big time. And even today, I come across this quite often, that if you wanted a religious worker in a mandir, that religious person has got to be from the Brahmin society.
Yeah.
And we have a wonderful youngster who wants to become a sort of religious worker, but we are struggling to see how we can really take him on. And in fact, after I built the mandir, I also felt like becoming a religious worker and do some of the things that a religious worker does in our mandir. But I think our society does not accept that, and hierarchy within the kind of religious fraternity also don't accept that, which is a pity.
It's wrong.
It's wrong. Yeah, absolutely.
It's wrong because Krishna says it's according to guna and karma. And if your qualities, if your nature is Brahminical and you are not born in a Brahmin family, it doesn't matter. The fact that you're born if you wanted to become a doctor and your father's a doctor, then automatically you are a doctor? No, you have to go to college, you have to learn, you have to study, you have to have the mood and attitude of a doctor, then you can become a doctor.
Yeah.
So in this exactly the same, it's completely wrong, completely false.
Yeah.
And when we open our center, we're not going to have that rule.
Good. And I think we should start to sort of help society change in this attitude, and we could take a lead in that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. The other one, the other question that came to mind was around the status of ladies. These are all men orientated.
It is.
When you think about it, I think we did not pay enough attention to how where and how the ladies would fit. If you look at all the definitions, then we don't have lady priests in general. Yeah. I'm not saying it's not happening. It can happen, but in 99.9% of the priests will be men.
Correct.
If you look at Kshatriyas, same. Although things are changing, you see lots of lady policemen and warriors-wise, probably not that many. And again, farming community, in the business community, artisans and workers, they all tend to be men. Ladies have not had a big say in this so much. So I'm just making a comment on that.
Yeah, if you look at the makeup of ladies and men, it's completely different. You know, someone's done a lot of research into how they both operate. So men, if you take the analogy, men are like a racing car.
Yeah.
And the ladies are like the tractor, slow and steady. But you know, the men are always energetic, they always want to do things, passionate like that. And the women are not like that. So everyone has a role in society, and the women actually supporting the men. Like if you look at the kings will be supported by the queens to go out in battle.
Inspired.
Yeah, inspire them and give them the energy as well to do that work. The women's role, as stated in Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, is that they should always be protected. So that's why they don't go out into society and do all these roles. You know, from a young age, they're protected by the father, and then by the husband, then by the sons. So the women need to always be protected, otherwise they will be exploited. Because
men are so pathetic.
So that's why women should not really go out and do these roles. They can have a role within, you know, they have like ladies sanghas and things like that. They can inspire other ladies, but they should not generally mix in a male-oriented society, really.
Yeah. Do you know my theory about ladies and men? As men have only 3 compartments in our brain. The ladies have 100. And this is where the strength comes. Yeah, a man is very, in general, less thoughtful than ladies are. Less sensitive than ladies are. And that needs to be incorporated somehow in this.
Yeah. But that's where there's a partnership, and that's why it works. I mean, in our case, you know, this is absolutely how it works. You know, I'm the Ferrari, and she's like the, you know, the huge truck. So, and it's very important. The Ferrari crashes every now and then. The truck keeps going. You know.
Yeah.
So this is where the partnership is very important. But if it's reversed and perhaps the ladies take the leadership role, actually that causes some difficulties in the nature of the function of how they work together.
Yeah. Last one was Pratishtha. We have 2 versions of Pratishtha when we established a Murti. One is Chalit Pratishtha, one is proper Pratishtha.
Pran Pratishtha.
Pran Pratishtha. Yeah. Is there any real sense in the difference between the 2?
Depends on circumstances. They're both important. Prana Pratishtha, or the fixed one, is you fix the deity there and he's never to be moved. He's always to be worshipped. That's the promise that is made. You come, we promise we'll worship you. And he comes on that basis of that promise, and that promise should never be broken. So what happens, especially in the traditional model, was all of the land would be bought around the temple in order to become service for the deity going forward. The deity would actually own all of the land and always be used in the service. And the other one is a little bit more temporary if we're not too sure, the buildings are not adequate, or then you would do the other type of pratishtha. They both have their function in society, right?
And also the Chal pratishtha, usually the festival deities,
Yeah.
which also come out.
Yeah.
The other ones don't ever come out. So maybe you have a larger version of the murtis and you have a smaller version. Smaller versions would come out for festivals, for padayatras and things like that. But the pran pratishtha one, they should never ever come out of.
It's not that they should never come out. There is also a ceremony that you can hold to undo if you are moving a murti for good reason.
That's different.
A better place.
Yeah.
A better place, yes. That's right. But not an inferior place.
Yeah.
It should be a better place.
The other one connected to this is Pustavela. Have you heard that?
No.
No.
Krishna, particularly baby Krishna ni murti now in a Pustavela ke Vaishnava.
Okay.
Have you heard that one?
No.
It's similar to Pran Pratishtha. That when you have a baby Krishna at your house, you can have two types of it. One is Pustavela, means it's like Pran Pratishtha, and the other one is Pustavela Nawe. I came across that yesterday. we had JJ Baba from Vaishnava to visit our temple yesterday. And he gave us a very good understanding of this.
Interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Ishwari, we come back to you in a minute. Now, Pari.
She's put all the details.
Oh, you've already put the details. Thank you. So if everybody can join the quiz, and that's going to be based on festivals, which we did last time. Ishwari, I don't know how much time we'll have, but we will actually dedicate a certain aspect of time for your questions. Probably not this time, but maybe next time. So go for it.
We only have 4 questions left.
Oh, okay. Go on then.
Can you do Varnashram in Kali Yuga?
Vanaprastha, yes, you can, if you're qualified, yeah. But it's so hard. But one can, under the guidance of a guru, a spiritual master. That's right.
Yeah.
And one must at some point disconnect oneself from the family. If we don't, that attachment will keep us in this world. Oh, this is my wife, this is my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, and I die thinking of them and I'll stay in this world. But we don't, that's not our aim. Our aim is to become self-realized. And that means some hardships, even whilst we're in this world. So detaching ourselves from the family is fundamentally important.
Yeah. Sorry, just going on from that is basically you retire from your work, so you live a retired life, and then what you do is you go to visit holy places for maybe a month, and then slowly increase that. So that is how you're detaching yourself from your home as well, because sometimes if you're living at home and you're not visiting all these places, you are still attached to your home. And that's another attachment which might make you stay in this world.
I see. What does the wife do when her husband takes sannyas?
She's with the children. Children will look after her. she will be. Actually, the wives are usually much more spiritually inclined than the husbands. So they will absorb themselves in service in the temple, absorb themselves. And we know some of the most elevated ladies who are far, far more superior than their husbands, isn't it?
Yeah. Or they can also go and live in the holy dhams and because there are ashrams there which would cater for such situations. Yes.
Has there ever been an evil demon Brahmin?
Yes. But the Sura. But he was actually a devotee. Evil Brahmin.
Ravan.
A Jamil.
Ravan. Well done, pretty.
Even a Jamil, he was a Brahmin. And
A Jamil,
was not falling. Yeah.
But yeah, no, but pretty got it right.
Yeah.
Ravan. Yeah, well done.
History normally repeats itself, I think. So when the world is remade, will there be another battle like the Mahabharata?
You mean in the next cycle of Kali Yuga, etc.?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It will. It occurs again. It's like dramas, you know. We do dramas every time there's Ram Navami and Diwali, and the dramas are important. It's just some of the characters, some of the storylines change a little bit, but the dramas continue because the Lord comes and shows His sweetness through those dramas.
But in every Dwapar Yuga, he does not come himself. He sends Vishnu. But you know, we were lucky in this Dwapar Yuga. He came as Krishna himself. But sometimes the Mahabharata war might be slightly different. You know, not so many characters. If there are not so many demons to get rid of, so many evil characters to get rid of. So yeah, every time it's slightly different, but it does occur.
Okay, thank you so much, Ishwari. You're amazing. I really appreciate your inquisitiveness. For youngsters, you are so good. So yes, Pari, let's go for it.
Is everyone logged on?
You can share your screen.
I think everyone's here, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Go for it. Thank you.
Okay. Who was given the name Ekadashi? Radharani, a young girl, Parvati, or Lakshmi Devi? Whoever selected a young girl was correct.
Only one person.
Why was she given this name? She meditated for years. She sacrificed something very dear to her. She defeated a powerful demon, or she fasted for the Lord. So it was actually she defeated a powerful demon, and that's why she was given the name Ekadashi. Another pastime is that Lord Vishnu heard the screams of the punished souls and his compassion manifested as Ekadasi. True or false? True is correct. Generally, on Ekadasi, we eat as much as we can while keeping the Lord in mind. True or false? The correct answer is false. What are the two types of fasting? Internal fasting, intense fasting, lenient fasting, or external fasting? There's two answers in this one. So the two correct answers were internal fasting and external fasting. Material benefits of fasting are improved blood sugar, improved brain function, reduced inflammation and weight loss, or all of the above. Correct, all of the above. Janamastami is the appearance of, oh, everyone's already answered. Radharani, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Shri Krishna, or Prahlad Maharaj. Lord Shri Krishna is correct. Dhanteras is the appearance of Balaram, Dhanvantri, and Lakshmi Devi, Shri Krishna, or Radharani. Dhanvantri and Lakshmi Devi is correct. What happened on Pandav Nerjal Ekadashi? Mata Kunti fasted for her sons, Maharaj Pandu fasts for his first son, the 5 Pandavas fast to win the Mahabharata, or Bhim fasts without water or food. Oh, I thought this was going to be a trick question. Apparently not. The last one is correct, which many people got right. What is Holi or Gaura Purnima? The day, this has two answers. The day Holika was burnt, is it Sita Mata's appearance day, Lord Chaitanya's appearance day, or all of the above? Ooh. So it's actually the first one, the day Holika was burnt, and it's also Lord Chaitanya's appearance day. And that is the end.
Well done. Thank you.
And third place we have Kishori, second place we have Riha, and first we have Ishwari. Well done.
Oh,
Wow.
I think that is the first time I've ever got all the questions right.
wow. Well done.
Very
Yeah.
proud of you.
Yeah, well done. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Pari, and wonderful quiz, as well as Ishwari Kishori. Congratulations. And thank you for
Prabhuji.
everybody
Thank
for sharing
you.
your time. Huh? Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Kishore.